okay? And let me show you how to get that and do it. Okay, to figure out what 1/3 of the height of the text block will be, and for subsequent measurements, we need to have a measurement template, kind of a measuring stick. We're going to use just a piece of cardstock. So again, you could get up in the open cabinet, get a piece of file folder, and just cut kind of a strip. It doesn't matter how wide. It just needs to be longer than the height of the book. That make sense? Something like that. And then we're going to make a bunch of measurements on this so that this can then be carried around to different parts of our paper, and it's always constant. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is measure the height of the book. Now, what I like to do is put an arrow to the top edge of my measuring template so that I know I'm always going from this edge down to whatever mark I made. Does that make sense? So I don't get confused. Do I go from this edge to the mark or this edge to the mark? So there's no confusion. I'm always going off the arrow edge. So put the arrow edge flush to the top of your book and just mark off the height. Pencil mark, and that gives you your height. Okay? Now again, next to that pencil mark, I like to actually write what it is. So I'm going to write height of book. Or height of text block. Okay. So everybody see that? Everybody see what I'm doing? Now, what you're going to want to do is one of two things. You're going to want to measure. Let's take a ruler and measure that distance. So right from the top edge down to the pencil mark, that is 9.5 inches. And so what you can quickly do is then divide 9.5 by 3 to come up with your 1/3. Or what I do, because I have this tool here, is I just mark off, I find what 1/3 is by using that. And you can see these are calipers, and I just go make 3 ticks until I get 1/3. 1, 2, 3. So that's my 1/3. So either by ruler or by some type of caliper, then mark off again off the top edge, because everything's being marked off that top edge. Come down and mark off your 1/3 of the height. You following me? Now at that 3rd mark, I'm going to write turn in. And that will always be the size of my turn in. So now it's constant. It's there. I can bring this, put it wherever I need to on the paper. Okay? Does that make sense, how I got that and what this is? And stop me at any time, you know, if it just didn't make sense. How did I get that? Why am I doing this? Make sure you stop me so I can review it. Now, here's my synchrome on paper. What you're going to want to do, go over to the board here, square it all up. Because it has decal edges on all 4 sides. So square it up, nice and clean. That way you've got good parallel and perpendicular sides. Okay? Now put this down on your blotter. Get all of you have a bone folder, and you have a Teflon folder, right? I'm going to tend to use my bone folder more today than I probably have any other time throughout the semester. And I'm going to use my bone folder to crease the paper. You'll see how I use it in just a minute. And I'll use the Teflon folder more for kind of finished, well, you'll see what I use. Okay, so this will be a good time to pull out the bone folder. Okay, what you're going to do, let's begin. See, pencil, and you're going to need a good pencil, sharp pencil, and I even like to use an awl, or what would be another word? Yeah, just a what? Yeah, an awl, or frankly, just even a needle would be fine to make little pin pricks. So something good and sharp, not, you know, like a big dull thing that's gonna make this big hole when you punch, you know, just, you want little pin marks, okay? I like that, because that's a wood handle. So, what, an awl is not really the proper word, it's a dissecting needle would be great. And don't you all have one? Didn't that come in that plastic bag kit? Okay, so a dissecting needle. All right, let's begin. What we're gonna do is now work off the top edge of our paper, which is this top line, and come down and mark off our 1/3 of the height turn-in. And the way you do that is take this, come over to the top edge of the Saint Armand paper over on the left side or right, it doesn't matter, and and put your file folder flush to the paper, little pencil mark, hit your turn-in mark, come over here, file folder flush, and mark the turn-in. Does everybody see what I'm doing? Now take your straight edge and put your, let me get a little longer one, and put your straight edge now against the pencil marks. So that's running parallel to your pencil marks. Take your bone folder, and you probably will want to then offset the ruler down just a bit so that the tip of your bone folder is running through the pencil mark. See what I'm saying? So whatever it takes, you know, adjust the straight edge. So when you run your bone folder up and down against the straight edge, that bone folder tip is going right through those pencil marks. Everybody following me?
So you don't actually mark with a pencil.
Yeah, so you're not going to now draw a pencil line. We're now going to take our bone folder and hold it like a pencil, or really not like a pencil, like a scalpel. And instead of now cutting with a scalpel, we are creasing the paper. And so the key to getting good creases is the hand that holds the straight edge and holding that down really tight. If it slips, you're kind of in big trouble. You can't go back and fix it. So basically you can't make a mistake. All right, so the pressure's on. It's not that big of a deal. And get those aligned. Then just hold this down, you know, really hard to the table, and then press with your bone folder. And you see how I move my hand, where my hand and the bone folder, I keep them together. And what you're doing is just scoring the paper really once or twice, back and forth. Just no more than twice. You'll literally cut the paper, you know, if you go back and forth with your bone folder. Just one. Then keep your hand here. Then come back onto the front side of the paper, because this is the inside. Come now to the front side and push the paper up against the straight edge. So again, where my bone folder is, I tend to move my hand to keep the ruler down, or the straight edge down really tight on the paper. Does that make sense? Okay, and that will give that will deboss the paper with a nice score line, and then the paper will be kind of pushed up about 90 degrees. Finish that turn-in using your fingers, just your pads of your fingers, because they're nice and soft. The key is not to smash this really flat. Unlike most things we would do, we really go for, really kind of pushing that down hard. This one, it's keeping it actually somewhat soft. And that's it. Okay? So unfold it, and this now equates to that first dotted line up there on the blueprint.